subject. So,
Yes, the
um,
live stream is preparing, it says.
okay, wonderful. Wonderful. And if you were one of the few people or the many people or whoever who actually celebrated and helped me to celebrate my birthday last week, thank you so much for wonderful. And if you were one of the people or many people or whoever who actually celebrated and helped me to celebrate my birthday.
From the
Can you
valley to
can
the
you hear me,
peak
Teresa?
we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Wonderful. So we're back on. Okay. So tonight, the question is, what happens to your business if you're not around? I am going to be looking both in this camera and on the camera on YouTube. Welcome if you're on YouTube. This is the Transition Lab where we are working with entrepreneurs who are trying to transition from working W-2 income to a viable business that they own and not necessarily just creating a job, but actually creating a business.
And one they love.
What they love, how they can
Mhm.
serve, the things that they really are that bring them some
Joy.
satisfaction,
Mhm.
joy, all those things. So, can we ask you one question tonight? And I don't want you to answer it too quickly. But the question is, what happens to your business if you're not around? Now, this is a problem because I actually have a whole families, a whole family full of business owners, and one person in particular that that was very near and dear to me. My father owned a business for 28 years.
Mm.
And he could never step out of his business. And ultimately, he died in his business. Last time I talked to him, he, we had a conversation. He called me from his business, and we're talking about something that he needed me to do. And about 20 minutes later, I got a call from his secretary, and she said he was rushed to the hospital. He had had a heart attack.
Mm.
This that business did not survive another 4 months without him. And tonight we're not talking about you dying, but that could be the case. We are talking about you being controlled by your business. And literally, my father, he worked for 27, 28 years, and he was
Mm.
not able to really, we always knew where he was. We always knew where he was. He was in the business day in and day out. So
Hmm.
we're not talking just for an afternoon, if you were to leave for an afternoon or weekend. We're saying, what if something unexpected happens and you had to step away for 2 weeks? Or what would happen? Would it be your business continue to move forward? Is there going to be somebody there to help pick up the pieces? Or would everything just stop?
Ooh.
Well, that's the question we're sitting with right now. And
Yeah.
we've been sitting with it for a while this evening. So, Shanitha,
Wow. You know when you shared the story about your father, it reminds me of my mother. My
mm,
mother's living it exactly right now. Her business depends on her, and she's there at least 5 days a week, and she can't be away too long because there's nobody dependable enough to stay around that long. And so
mm,
that's exactly what's happening with my mother. And I always wonder, like, why don't we hire people to come in and but the way you do business, they're very accustomed to it. And it's been
right.
like 17 years that way. So it really brought something to memory for me. But with that, over the last few weeks, E2A, we've been talking about AI, right? The AI masterclass. We talked about systems. We talked about your personal brand, helping you build it. We talked about creating leverage. But underneath every one of those conversations, we kept noticing the same challenge,
Yeah.
which is people aren't asking us, how do we work harder? How do I give myself more time on the clock? No one's asking that.
Not at all.
People are asking how to build a business that doesn't depend on them every minute of the day. And that's a completely different conversation. Y'all heard about Teresa's story, heard about my mother's story.
Yeah.
That's the conversation that's different.
Yeah, and this is where we're going.
Mhm.
So, welcome to Elevate to Activate. This is the Transition Lab. Shanitha,
Where
what?
we help people like you watching right now to transition from employee to entrepreneur with clarity, structure, and execution. And
Mhm.
tonight, we're talking about one question that can completely change how you think about your business.
Right.
What happens to your business if you're not around? Like, really sit with that for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's something we've got to think about, right? Because eventually we won't be around. You
Yes.
know, to death do us part. We all part, right?
Okay.
Um, but most businesses begin exactly the same way. They are not necessarily well planned out situations. You
Mhm.
do everything, right? You do everything. You find the clients, you answer the emails, you solve the problems, and you create the content. Isn't that how it goes?
That's
You also
exactly.
make every decision. That's very normal in the beginning.
It is. So don't feel like you an alien because we all been through that. But
Mhm.
the challenge with that is when the business never grows beyond that stage. That is the part. If every decision has to come back to you, if every customer has to go through you, if
Right.
every problem has to be solved by you, you've now built something that depends on you entirely. And if depends on you entirely, you have not created leverage, not yet. But you can, but not yet.
You absolutely can. And that's the difference between just owning a business and being the person every part of the business would depend on.
Mm,
That's where many entrepreneurs get stuck without even realizing that that's where it's going, right? We always
yeah,
think there's a way, there's something that's going to happen. So
yeah.
I mentioned what happened with my father, but let me share a couple of things that actually happened to me. Now, at one point, I was a solo entrepreneur selling real estate, basically working for one of the largest real estate franchises, Remax. And I had a lot of clients and other people who would see my lifestyle. And it was a pretty good lifestyle. I did everything, and I was satisfied doing everything.
Mm,
However, I also wanted to grow. And I had people who had become my friends from my client base who wanted to have the same sort of freedom where I could make a decision to not work that day, for a short period of time. They actually, my friends and the people that I had served, wanted to have a similar lifestyle because the job was holding them to coming in 40 hours a week.
mm, yeah.
So here's the thing. I started taking on my friends who became real estate agents, who were clients at first. I started bringing them into my business. And as my business grew, I became the person that everybody was depending on. I sort
Yeah.
of built myself a business systems trap where
Mm,
I had to do everything. I had to, because we were friends, I showed up to all the showings. I helped to make the list. I was doing the training. It was
yeah.
a lot to do. And what I found was, uh, it just became a bigger version of what I had already created. I was really
Mm,
praying for those days when it was much simpler. Like,
yeah.
I could,
Wow.
but I still didn't have an exit strategy. Even, I mean, it just highlighted, it just got really highlighted. Still did not have an exit strategy, even when I was a single entrepreneur.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, it's just
So
crazy.
for man, that's so wow. I love you. I love when you said you wanted to go back right to when it was simpler. Like, ugh, we all had that thought, I'm sure, at
We
some
also
point.
had people who I literally last week had a agent client tell me, I'm just ready to go back to a job.
Wow.
I
I
said,
mean,
girl, no, you're not. Don't.
yeah,
But
you go
anyway,
back. Yeah.
she said that.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, a business redesign right there. But with that, I've had seasons being a solo entrepreneur for a while before I learned about systems and tools I can use. Oh my God. When I got my first client and I had to still show up for the public, right? You don't get your first clients and then you just stop showing up online and stop sending the email marketing and stop. No,
Exactly.
it doesn't work like that.
It
Now you
does.
have responsibility to follow through on the transformation you promised.
Right.
And so with that, it was days I would wake up at 9, take my kid to school, and be on my computer at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning all day. And then when I woke up the next morning, I was still on. I
Right.
never could turn off. And I felt disconnected from not only myself, but from my family because the business followed me everywhere I went,
Mhm.
every thought, every lunch break,
That's
everywhere,
the truth.
right?
The truth, girl. You know that's the truth. That is the truth. And I don't know why people act like it's not, I see so many, excited faces that like this is not written. No, this is the truth.
The truth. I mean, every notification that went off on my phone demanded my attention. I didn't know if it was something going on with my client or it's, just all these different things. But the
Mm,
breakthrough for me, I'm like, something has to change. There has to be a better way, has to be an easier way. And there
there is.
was. And I
There
realized the
definitely
business
is.
itself had to change, that I needed a redesign.
Exactly. The redesign, it has to be redesigned.
Yeah.
When you finally know and you finally understand there is a redesign. Here's a simple exercise. If you're in business, we want everyone to do this week. So ask yourself, if I disappeared for 2 weeks, you own a business right now, you
Mm-hmm.
disappeared for 2 weeks, what would immediately stop? It's very important that you get clarity around that idea. You got to get clarity around it. Would the sales stop? Are you the only person, or are you the only reason why things get sold? Would,
Mm-hmm.
would communication stop? Are you the person, the face, the voice? What about the projects that you have? Would those stop? Would decisions start just piling up? Write down the first three things that come to mind so that you can kind of get clarity around these ideas.
And I would even take it a step further. If you're still working your job, can you leave for 2 weeks and everything will still be working? You can because they have systems in place. But can you just leave and everything is back to normal? Like, you can't. There has to be procedures in place. You got to have someone to cover you. And so think about that if you are starting a business. If you could think about that in the beginning, you could build it differently and kind of miss all these things that happen. But with that, with this list, the 3 things that come to mind for you, do not judge the list. Don't
Mm.
try to fix it tonight. Just identify it. That's it. Because clarity always comes before change does. And when you know where your business depends on you at, when you start it, you know where to begin building systems.
And
And that will change
I
everything
think,
for you.
girl, right. I think a lot of times we build these businesses because we get an opportunity, to your point, the conversation that we were having earlier. You actually get an opportunity. You find there's something that you can do. You see a possibility, a potential, you can
Mhm.
help somebody, you can get paid for it. So you start, right? But knowing this and understanding how to start, how to build it so that it does have longevity, how to
Yeah,
build it so that you can scale it and grow it.
for
It's
sure.
a mindset shift. The goal isn't to do more. That's that key right there. The goal is to build it smarter.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
here, if you're paying attention, you out there, drop this in the chat. What's one part of your business, if you have a business, that depends completely on you today? That if you weren't
Mm,
there, it's definitely not getting done.
for sure. And if you could remove yourself from just one task that you do, maybe would it be content creation? Would it be sales? Would it be marketing, scheduling, following up?
Mm.
We love to hear where you are right now in that journey.
Yeah, it's
right?
important because other people who may need to understand this might be watching it on replay or whatever. It could
Yes,
change their whole life. It could change their whole life.
for
And I
sure.
think bottom line is that's why we get into business. That's why we get into community so that we can learn from other people's mistakes. We don't have to repeat the problem again.
Right? Don't.
Yeah, right. Not at all. So tonight wasn't about really fixing your business. It was about looking at it differently.
Yeah.
And what are
Because
you thinking, Shanita?
what we know and have come to find out is that the businesses that create freedom are not built by accident. They are
Mhm.
not. You can't imagine it. You can't wish it up. These businesses are built intentionally. One
Very.
decision, one system, one improvement, and redesign at a time. That's
That's it.
simple.
That's what it is. So if tonight's conversation, if you have a business or you are
Thinking
beginning
about.
to transition yourself
Mhm.
into a business, and tonight's conversation made you think a little bit differently about your business or about the way you would want to set it up, don't let the clarity end when this live is over.
For
Take the
sure.
time and go through the process. Ask yourself those questions. This will be up for 30 days so you can go back if the questions, if you didn't get them all down, and just rewatch it.
Yeah. And that's why we're here today. And we've created E2A, the Transition Lab, because every entrepreneur is in a different season. Maybe you've already established, maybe you're starting out, maybe you're pivoting.
Mm,
And some are building their first offer, some are trying to replace their income, and some need systems,
all
while
together.
others need clarity on what to do next. So the
Mm,
next best step isn't the same for everybody, not at all.
yep. So don't guess.
No.
Book a one-on-one call conversation with us. We would love to talk to you, see how we can add value and how we can help you to build your business. We'll spend time really getting to understand and know you. We um, we want to know where you are today, what's slowing your progress, what opportunities you may be overlooking, and give you some thoughts around that, and what your next best step could be or should
Yeah.
be. That might be the key right there.
Yeah, I wish we had this when I started out. I was so signed up today. But listen, here's the thing. There is no pressure. There's no complicated pitching, right? Just a conversation designed to help you move forward with confidence and structure. So if you want to book the one-on-one call, comment the word book in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook,
Yes.
comment the word book. And what we'll do is once you have that comment, we'll send you an inbox for a private Zoom conversation, me and Teresa. And we would love to meet you, hear your story, and help you build a business that supports the life that you actually want.
That's it.
That's
Yeah,
important. So,
absolutely. So success isn't measured by how much you carry. Just remember that. It's not
no.
measured by how much you carry. Matter of fact, how much you carry could end up, causing you to become ill. So we don't want that.
Yeah.
How's it measured, Shanita?
By what you've built that continues to create value even when you're not doing everything yourself. That is the pride. That's the goal right there.
Total. We're looking for that freedom, that time,
That part.
energy, and money freedom. That's why we build businesses. We don't build businesses just to be working. We are looking to take something that can help someone else get paid and show somebody else how to do most of the things that we do.
Yes. So thank you all for joining us for Transition Lab. We will see you next week. And if you're ready for your next step, book your one-on-one conversation by commenting the word book and let us help you build your business with intention and redesign it for freedom. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Let's go.
Thank you, E2A.
All
Bye,
right. We'll see you
everyone.
next week.
Feeling fire in the seeds we sow.
Joining me on Facebook.
No more shadows.